In a galaxy far away, a dark shadow loomed over many planets. This shadow belonged to the Galactic Empire, a powerful force that ruled with an iron fist. The Empire had advanced technology, huge ships, and an army that was feared across the stars. They conquered world after world, forcing alien races to bow down and follow their harsh laws. Fear was the Empire's weapon, and it worked well. On the planet Earth, things were different. Humans had always been a curious and strong species. They loved to explore and learn about the universe. But as news of the Empire's cruelty spread, many began to worry. Families gathered in their homes, watching the news reports of planets falling under the Empire's control. People whispered about the Empire's latest attack, and the fear in their eyes grew with every story. In a small town, a group of humans decided they had enough. They met in a dimly lit basement, away from prying eyes. The air was thick with tension as they took their seats around a wooden table. The leader of the group, a young woman named Mia, looked at each face. She felt the weight of their fears but also their hopes. "We cannot let the Empire take our home," Mia said, her voice steady. "We are not like the others. We are strong and we will fight back!" Her words filled the room with energy. The humans nodded, feeling a spark of courage. One man, a former soldier named Jake, leaned forward. "I've seen what the Empire does. They destroy everything in their path. But we have something they don't, our spirit. We fight for our freedom and we can win!" His eyes shone with determination, igniting the same fire in everyone else. As they discussed their plan, stories of human bravery came to life. They remembered their ancestors who had fought for their land and their rights. They spoke of great battles, not just on Earth but throughout history, where humans had stood up against impossible odds. The stories filled them with hope, and the fear that had gripped them began to fade. Mia pulled out a map of the galaxy. "Look here," she pointed at a location. "This is where the Empire will strike next. If we can get there first and sabotage their supplies, we can weaken them. We need to be smart and quick." The group studied the map closely, their minds racing with ideas. They were not just planning a battle, they were creating a chance for survival. The rebels knew they had to gather more information. They needed to learn everything they could about the Empire's plans. They formed smaller teams to scout the Empire's movements, listening for whispers in the shadows. Each day they grew bolder, learning how to navigate the Empire's territory without getting caught. As the days turned into weeks, the tension in the air shifted. The humans were no longer just scared. They were becoming united, sharing skills and knowledge. They trained in secret, honing their fighting skills and preparing for the battle ahead. They learned to work together, developing a strong bond that would carry them through the challenges to come. Mia watched her team grow stronger every day. They were more than just rebels, they were a family. She knew that when the time came to face the Empire, they would fight not just for Earth, but for all those who had suffered under the Empire's rule. Then one evening, news arrived that changed everything. A trusted source reported that the Empire had started mobilizing its forces toward Earth. The time to act was now. The group gathered again, their hearts racing with a mix of fear and excitement. "Tonight we take our stand," Mia declared, her voice ringing with confidence. "We are not just humans. We are fighters. We will show the Empire that we will not live in fear any longer." The room erupted in cheers, and for the first time in a long while, hope filled the air. The Galactic Empire had cast a long shadow, but the light of human courage was beginning to break through. They were ready to rise and fight for their freedom. As night fell over Earth, the small rebel group gathered in their secret meeting place, a dim basement filled with maps and plans. The air buzzed with excitement and nervous energy. Mia stood at the front, ready to share the bold plan they had crafted. She could feel the weight of their hopes on her shoulders. "We have received news that the Galactic Empire is planning to invade Earth soon," Mia announced, her voice steady. "We cannot wait any longer. We must act now." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the gravity of her words. Jake, the former soldier, stood up. "I believe we can strike a powerful blow against the Empire by targeting their supply ship. If we can sabotage it, we can disrupt their entire operation." His eyes sparkled with determination as he laid out the details. "The ship will be heavily guarded, but we have the element of surprise on our side." Mia nodded in agreement. "We need to be smart. We'll divide into teams. One group will create a distraction while the other sneaks onto the ship. We can't let them see us coming." The rebels murmured in agreement, feeling a surge of confidence. They were no longer just scared humans. They were fighters with a plan. They quickly formed two teams. Jake would lead the distraction team, which would create noise and confusion near the Empire's base. This would draw the guards away from the supply ship. Meanwhile, Mia would lead the stealth team, which would slip in and sabotage the ship's engines and supplies. As they discussed the plan, the atmosphere grew tense but filled with excitement. The rebels shared their ideas, suggesting different strategies. They wanted to make sure that every detail was covered. Mia encouraged everyone to speak up, and together they crafted a plan that felt both daring and achievable. "We need tools," Mia said. "We can't do this without equipment to help us break in and destroy what we need." A tech-savvy member named Leo raised his hand. "I can build some devices to jam their communications and disable their alarms. It will give us a better chance to sneak in." The group looked at him with renewed hope, grateful for his skills. As the night wore on, they prepared for the mission. They gathered supplies, weapons, and the gadgets Leo had crafted. They practiced their roles, ensuring that each member knew their tasks well. Laughter and camaraderie filled the basement as they worked together, their fears fading into determination. Finally, they were ready. As dawn approached, Mia gathered everyone for a final pep talk. "Today, we show the Empire that we will not be pushed around. We are humans and we fight for our freedom!" The group cheered, their voices echoing in the basement. With adrenaline pumping through their veins, the rebels set out into the early morning light. The streets were quiet, and they moved swiftly and silently, staying in the shadows. As they approached the Empire's base, they could see the massive ships looming in the sky, a constant reminder of the Empire's power. Jake led his team toward the front of the base, where they would create their distraction. Mia and her team quietly approached the supply ship, hearts pounding with excitement and fear. They knew this was their moment, and there was no turning back. When they reached the front of the base, Jake signaled to his team. They began to make noise, banging on metal and shouting. The guards turned their attention toward the commotion, just as planned. "Go! Now!" Jake yelled, and Mia and her team slipped away, moving quickly toward the supply ship. As they reached the ship, they saw the entrance was guarded. "Leo, now's your chance," Mia whispered urgently. Leo pressed a button on a small device he had built, jamming the ship's security systems. The door opened with a soft hiss. The team rushed inside, adrenaline surging through their bodies. They quickly located the engines and began to work. "We need to be fast," Mia reminded them. The sound of alarms echoed in the distance, but they pushed forward, determined to make their mark on this battle. With every passing second, they felt the weight of history on their shoulders. This was not just a mission, it was a fight for their future, and they would do everything they could to protect their home from the Empire's grasp. The sun rose over Earth, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. It was the day of the big mission, and excitement mixed with anxiety filled the air. Mia's team had been preparing for this moment for weeks. They knew the risks, but they also knew what was at stake. Today, they would strike back against the Galactic Empire. As they approached the Empire's base, Mia looked around at her team. Their faces were a mix of determination and fear, but she saw strength in their eyes. "Remember our plan," she said, her voice calm but firm. "We stick together and trust each other. We will succeed!" Jake and his distraction team were already in position, ready to create chaos at the front of the base. Mia could hear the distant sounds of shouting and metal clanging as they began their diversion. This was their chance. "Let's go!" Mia whispered, leading her team toward the supply ship. They moved quickly and quietly, slipping through the shadows. The guards were busy watching the commotion created by Jake's team, and that was just what they needed. As they reached the ship, Leo pulled out his device again, jamming the ship's security systems. The door slid open and they rushed inside. The inside of the ship was cold and dark, filled with crates and machinery. The hum of engines echoed in the background. Mia took a deep breath. "We split up. Leo and I will head to the engines. The rest of you find the weapons and supplies." "We have to be quick!" The team nodded and scattered, each member focused on their tasks. As Mia and Leo moved deeper into the ship, they could hear the sounds of alarms blaring in the distance. The Empire had realized something was wrong. "We need to hurry," Mia urged, her heart racing. They reached the engine room and quickly got to work. Leo set up a device that would disable the engines. "If we overload the power supply, it will cause a massive explosion," he explained. Mia nodded, understanding the plan. It was risky, but it was their best chance to cripple the Empire's operations. Meanwhile, the rest of the team searched for weapons. They opened crates, finding advanced blasters and ammunition. "This will help us in the fight!" one of the rebels exclaimed. They loaded their packs with as much gear as they could carry, knowing they needed every advantage they could get. Just then, Mia heard footsteps approaching. "They're coming!" she whispered urgently. They had to finish their tasks quickly. Leo worked faster, his hands flying over the controls. The alarms were deafening, and the sounds of guards shouting grew closer. "We're almost there," Leo said, his brow furrowed in concentration. Mia stood guard at the door, listening for any sign of danger. Her heart pounded as she peered down the hallway, praying that they could finish their mission before getting caught. Finally, Leo announced, "It's done! The engines will explode in 5 minutes. Let's get out of here!" Mia shouted, leading the way back to the entrance. They moved swiftly, knowing time was not on their side. As they neared the exit, they encountered a group of guards rushing in. "Stop right there!" one of them yelled, raising his weapon. Without thinking, Mia shouted, "Now!" and the team sprang into action. Jake's distraction team had done their job well. The guards were caught off guard as the rebels fought back with fierce determination. Mia and her team fought side by side using the weapons they had gathered. They moved together like a well-oiled machine, dodging blasts and taking down guards. In the chaos, Mia spotted an escape route leading to the side of the ship. "Over here!" she yelled, guiding her team toward safety. They dashed through the opening just as the first explosion rocked the ship. The ground shook beneath their feet, and flames erupted behind them. "Go! Go!" Mia urged, her heart racing. They sprinted away from the supply ship as more explosions followed, lighting up the sky. The Empire's base was in chaos, and the sound of alarms filled the air. As they reached a safe distance, the rebels turned to watch the supply ship explode in a massive fireball. The shockwave hit them, pushing them back slightly. Cheers erupted among the group, the thrill of victory coursing through their veins. "We did it!" one of the rebels shouted, unable to contain his excitement. Mia smiled, feeling a rush of pride. They had struck a blow against the Empire, and this was just the beginning. They had shown that humans would not cower in fear. As the smoke cleared, Mia knew they had to move quickly. The Empire would soon regroup and come looking for them. "Let's head back to base," she said, her voice steady. "We need to regroup and plan our next move. The fight is far from over." The rebels nodded, their spirits high as they made their way back. Together, they had taken a stand, and they would continue to fight for their freedom. The rebels returned to their hidden base, adrenaline still pumping through their veins from the successful mission. The atmosphere buzzed with energy as they celebrated their victory. Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had struck a powerful blow against the Galactic Empire, but she knew that this was just the beginning. As the team gathered in the basement, Mia stood at the front once again, her heart racing with excitement. "Everyone did an amazing job today," she began, and the room erupted in cheers and applause. "But we need to talk about what comes next. The Empire will not take this lightly. We have to be ready for their response." Jake stepped forward, his expression serious. "They will likely send more troops to our area. We need to form alliances with other groups of rebels across the globe. If we unite, we can create a stronger front against the Empire." His words struck a chord with everyone in the room. They had been fighting alone for too long. Mia nodded in agreement. "We need to reach out to other resistance groups and show them that we are serious. Together we can fight for our freedom." A murmur of agreement rippled through the group. They all understood that unity was their best chance for survival. Leo, who had been working quietly at a table, looked up. "I can create a way for us to communicate securely with other rebel groups. If we can share our plans and coordinate our efforts, we can hit the Empire harder than ever before." The room buzzed with excitement as they discussed the possibilities. Over the next few days, the rebels worked tirelessly. Leo created a communication system that allowed them to connect with other resistance groups around the world. They sent messages, sharing their success and inviting others to join their fight against the Empire. Mia felt a sense of hope as responses began to come in. Some groups were small, but they all had the same goal, to resist the Empire. One by one, they agreed to meet and discuss their strategies. The more they connected, the stronger they felt. The day of the first united meeting arrived, and Mia felt a mix of excitement and nerves. Rebels from different regions gathered in their basement, each bringing their own stories of struggle and hope. As they entered, Mia greeted them warmly, welcoming them into their newfound alliance. "Today we unite for a common cause," Mia said, looking around at the diverse faces in the room. "We are not just individuals fighting for our homes. Together, we are a force that the Galactic Empire cannot ignore." The rebels clapped and cheered, their spirits lifted. Jake took the lead in sharing their previous success. "We managed to sabotage one of their supply ships, causing major disruptions. Imagine what we can do if we work together." He shared plans for future operations, and the room filled with discussions of strategies and ideas. As they talked, Mia noticed a young woman sitting quietly in the corner. Her name was Lila, and she was from a rebel group in a nearby city. She had lost her family to the Empire's cruelty, and her eyes burned with the desire for revenge. Mia felt a connection with her pain and determination. "I have a plan," Lila spoke up, her voice steady but passionate. "We can strike the Empire where it hurts the most, at their command centers. If we can disrupt their leadership, we can throw them into chaos." The room buzzed with excitement at her suggestion. Everyone began discussing how to coordinate an attack. As the meeting continued, ideas flowed freely. They planned joint missions, shared resources, and built a solid foundation for their alliance. Each rebel contributed their skills and knowledge, creating a unified force stronger than any of them had imagined. Mia felt a sense of pride as she looked around the room. They were no longer just a small group of rebels, they were part of something much larger. Together, they would fight for freedom and show the Galactic Empire that they could not be ignored. The meeting ended with a renewed sense of purpose. They would strike back at the Empire, united in their cause. "Remember, we are not alone anymore," Mia reminded them. "We have each other, and together we are powerful." As the rebels left the basement, a feeling of hope filled the air. They were ready to face the Empire with courage and determination. United for freedom, they would fight for their homes, their families, and their future. The Galactic Empire may have been strong, but together they would show that humanity could not be defeated. As they prepared for their next move, Mia felt a spark of hope ignite within her. This was the beginning of a new chapter in their fight, and she knew they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. The rebels were coming together, and they would not back down. Freedom was within their reach, and they were determined to seize it. The sun rose over the horizon, casting a warm golden light across the rebel base. Today was not just another day. It was the day they would launch their first joint mission against the Galactic Empire. The atmosphere was filled with a mixture of excitement and tension. Mia felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders as she gathered her team for a final briefing. "Today we stand together," Mia said, looking at the faces of her friends and allies. "We have trained hard, and now we are ready to fight for our freedom. Our target is the Empire's command center. If we can disrupt their leadership, we will shake them to their core." Jake stepped forward, his confidence radiating through the room. "Remember, we all have a role to play. Stay focused and communicate." "We can do this!" The rebels nodded, their spirits high as they prepared for the fight ahead. As they gathered their gear, Mia couldn't help but reflect on how far they had come. Just weeks ago, they had been a small group of fighters struggling to survive. Now, they were part of a united force, ready to challenge one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. The team boarded their ships, the engines humming with energy. As they flew towards the command center, Mia glanced at her comrades, each one filled with determination. They had forged a bond that would carry them through this battle and beyond. Once they arrived, the team split into smaller groups, each assigned a specific task. Mia and Jake led the charge to disable the outer defenses, while Lila and her team moved in to take control of the main entrance. The plan was simple but effective, and everyone knew their role. As they approached the command center, the tension in the air grew thick. Mia could hear the distant sounds of blaster fire and explosions. The Empire was already on high alert, but they were ready. "On my signal," Mia whispered, her heart racing. With a deep breath, she raised her hand. "Now!" They charged forward, moving swiftly and silently. The first guards were caught off guard, and Mia's team quickly took them down, their training paying off. Once inside, they encountered more guards, but they fought bravely. Each rebel showed incredible courage, standing firm against the Empire's forces. Mia felt a surge of pride as she watched her friends work together, covering each other and fighting as one. They reached the control room, where the Empire's leaders were directing operations. Lila and her team had already secured the entrance, allowing them to move in. "This is it!" Mia shouted, adrenaline coursing through her veins. As they stormed in, Mia saw the shock on the faces of the Empire leaders. "You thought you could crush us?" she declared, her voice echoing in the room. "We are not afraid anymore!" The rebels quickly moved to disable the control systems, and chaos erupted around them. The Empire's leaders scrambled to regain control, but it was too late. With every passing moment, the rebels gained the upper hand. The sounds of blaster fire and shouting filled the air as Mia and her team worked to shut down the command center. They were making progress, but the Empire wasn't going down without a fight. Guards rushed in, and the rebels had to defend their position fiercely. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the room, and debris flew everywhere. Mia stumbled but quickly regained her footing. "Stay together!" she yelled, rallying her team. They formed a defensive line, holding back the oncoming guards. After what felt like an eternity, the command center began to falter. The Empire leaders, realizing they were losing control, started to flee. But it was too late. The rebels had succeeded. With one final push, they shut down the main control systems, causing the command center to spiral into chaos. The sounds of victory erupted as the remaining guards surrendered. The rebels had done it. They had taken down one of the Empire's strongest strongholds. Cheers filled the air, and a sense of triumph washed over Mia. They had shown the galaxy that they were a force to be reckoned with. As they regrouped, Mia felt a deep sense of gratitude for her team and their new allies. Together, they had accomplished the impossible. "This is just the beginning," she said, looking around at the faces of her friends. "We will continue to fight until we are free." The rebels cheered again, their spirits soaring. They knew there would be more battles ahead, but they were ready. They had proven that unity was their greatest strength, and with it, they would forge a new future. As they left the command center, Mia looked up at the sky, feeling a sense of hope. The fight against the Galactic Empire was far from over, but today had marked a new beginning. Together, they would stand strong, united in their quest for freedom. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity would not be crushed. They would rise and fight for what was right. With newfound determination, the rebels prepared for their next move, ready to continue their fight for freedom and justice in the universe.